we will be looking at what are the important things that you need to pay attention to when you're choosing a tarot deck for yourself. First, we need to understand what actually a tarot deck is all about. A tarot deck is a deck of cards which has a lot of pictures in it, which has numbers, and which also has particular card meanings. So it's a deck of 78 cards. So if somebody is telling you there is a deck of tarot cards which has 52 cards, which has 42 cards, then please, that is not a tarot deck. It is called as an oracle deck, or it is called as a question and answer deck. Okay, so for tarot reading, you require a deck which has 78 cards in it. And each of these cards will have particular symbols, particular pictures, some numbers, and also words. So when you're choosing a tarot deck, especially if you are a beginner, make sure that you choose something which has a lot of vivid art or imagery in it. There are certain decks that you'll find which are traditional tarot decks, and there are certain imagery and symbolisms that you would have come across, or when you have had a tarot reading done to you, you would have observed. So you need to understand that whatever the art or imagery is on that particular card or whichever deck that you are referring to, you need to feel connected with that particular deck. You need to feel that each of those cards, when you see, it is trying to tell you a story. It is trying to tell you a message. If you feel that instant connection, that spark, then that is the right deck for you. If you're a beginner, make sure that you focus more on choosing among the decks which have a lot of pictures in it. There are some decks which will not really have a lot of pictures, especially when you're looking at the suits or the minor arcana. So when you're looking at wands and swords, there are certain decks which just have that number, okay, and the sword or the wand of that particular number displayed as a picture. Now these decks will be a little difficult for you to interpret as a beginner. So if you're a beginner, make sure that you choose a deck which has pictures, which has a lot of art in it, and these pictures and this art is something that you personally connect to. Like you feel an instant connection. You feel like as if there is a story that this particular card is saying. So how do you do that is before you buy a deck, okay, thank God for the internet and Google. You can Google the name of the deck. You can look at the kind of cards that are there. You can look at the pictures of the cards in the image section and see how you feel when you look at those images. See if you resonate well with those images. If you feel comfortable, if you feel pleasant about it, you have a nice relaxed and a pleasant feeling around in your chest area, and you feel that I think there is some kind of a story or some kind of a message this card is trying to tell me. If you feel that connection, then that is a good deck for you. A lot of times I have come across people who say that if you choose a deck which has very traditional symbolism, your tarot reading is going to be accurate. No, it is not that. Your tarot reading is completely dependent on the tarot reader. Okay, so if you're choosing a traditional deck thinking that my readings will be more accurate, no, in fact it will be the opposite, because your criteria for choosing the deck should be an energy connection, a spiritual connection that you feel, not because somebody said something. If you're comfortable with traditional conventional imagery, you can choose that. If you're comfortable with non-conventional imagery, you're comfortable with different interpretations, then you please choose that. Always remember the accuracy of tarot reading. Yes, it depends on the cards itself, but more than that, it depends on the reader. It depends on you. So make sure that your personal connection with those cards is a priority. For those of you who are already a tarot reader now and you feel that you want to expand your horizon, you want to explore new decks, that's a wonderful, wonderful state of transition to be in, because it means to say that your psychic powers, your intuitive powers are going to the next level, and a whole new dimension, a whole new world is opening up for you. So same way, when you're looking at a deck, notice how you feel. If you feel warm, if you feel happy, you feel content, and there's the slight amount of excitement and enthusiasm bubbling through you when you look at a particular deck, then yes, that is a deck that you will want to explore with. So if you're already a tarot reader, you already have your original personal deck of cards and you want to start exploring, you can use your original, as in your first deck of cards, as your anchor, and then you can start exploring similar cards or the same card meanings, the same card positions in a new deck. It will help you draw new parallels, it will help you get new understanding, and basically, allows you to enter a completely new world of interpretation and information. So a tarot reader need not have just one deck, they can have as many decks as they want, but it is always advised that you start with one deck. So let us start your basic training or your basic learning with a deck which you feel maximum connection with. And since tarot reading is all about interpretation, it's all about intuition being projected into your cards and you decoding it and taking things forward, make sure that there is a very good vivid imagery that you connect with. So if you have been a tarot reader for quite some time and you want to explore new decks, then it's not necessary to pay a lot of attention to the imagery, but what you can pay attention is how these cards particularly make you feel. Some of you might be inclined on knowing a background, research on the particular deck, like where it came from, what kind of an author or an artist has, involved himself or herself in the creation of the deck. Sometimes you might resonate with that ideology, with their, ideas and concepts, and that might make you feel like picking up that deck. That is fine. But if you're a beginner, please make sure that you, have vivid imagery for you to connect with. So this is one of the popular questions that we get asked while we are teaching or when we are training students in tarot is, should I allow my master, my tarot master or any other healer or energy master to choose my tarot deck for me, or is it something that I need to do myself? Please pick your own deck. Yes, your masters, your teachers, your gurus, your friends will have your best interests at heart, but tarot is a very, very personal thing. So, like it is always said, you don't choose the cards choose you, right? So you need to have an experience, you need to allow yourself to personally, go out there and choose the deck that you feel connected to. Yes, you can take decks that other people have blessed and have given you, or they've given it to you as a gift. But again, pay attention on how you feel. If you feel connected to those cards, you can use them. And if you feel, you're not that connected and you feel a kind of a distance, you can keep it aside. Please don't discard them. You can keep it aside. Later on in life, somewhere, after a few years, after a few months of your practice, of your journey into the world of tarot, you might develop some kind of an affinity or connection to those cards. So that's perfectly alright. If somebody is gifting it to you, if somebody is blessing it and giving it to you, if somebody has already used it and they are giving it to you with a lot of love and affection, you need not reject the gift. But once again, make sure that it is you who chooses the deck of cards. Just because somebody has gifted it does not mean you immediately start using it. You can give it time, you can keep it aside, you need not use it, just keep it aside. And later on, if you feel, like I want to use this, then you can think about using it. So while you're using or you're choosing your tarot deck, and if it is something that has been given to you by another person or it's been blessed and given to you, can you use it, right? We already discussed that. But there's another thing I want you to keep in mind is when you look at the card, please pay attention to how the cards look. If the card is torn, if the card has got jagged edges, like the edges, it's torn, it's too much worn out, or if the card is bent and all of that, it has those creases, then please do not use that card. Okay, do not use that deck. You need to safely discard the tarot deck. Okay, if the tarot deck has cards which is damaged, which is torn, which is burned, which has creases on it, which is bent, then please don't use, because when a card is in that particular structure, it becomes difficult for us to channel the energy of intuition through those cards. So it becomes difficult for you to interpret. Okay, and it also means that the cards have been used a lot with the previous owners or the previous users' energy. So we don't want a mixing of energy to happen, right? So preferably do not use old cards which are very worn out, which have jagged edges and all of that. So in our description box of this video, I will be sharing links for different types of tarot card decks, which is very popular among beginners. So we have a traditional Rider-Waite tarot, link as well. So you can go through the links in the description box, and if there's anything that you want me to add on, you want me to talk about in an upcoming video, you can put it in the comment section. Also, once you have chosen your tarot deck, how to prep it up, how to make it ready for use, how to be able to use it, we will talk about it in our next video.